All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. What's up, everybody? All my people in Manhattan, the Bronx, Queens, or Staten Island, my homeboro, Brooklyn. Back at another video, and today marks the 35th anniversary of the release of one of my favorite movies from my childhood, Gremlins 2, The New Batch, the sequel to the very popular and very famous 1984 film, Gremlins. And in my view, Gremlins 2 surpasses Gremlins 1. You know, it's one of those rare sequels that surpasses the original. That happens sometimes, you know. The Empire Strikes Back, some will say is better than New Hope. The Dark Knight, to me, is better than Batman Begins. There are people who believe Terminator 2, Judgment Day, is better than Terminator 1. I respectfully disagree with that. I like Terminator 1 more, but hey, there are people who believe Judgment Day is better than the first one. That's fine. So as it happens, and I truly believe Gremlins 2 is better than the first one. The first one was very fun, too. I remember my pops, he had Gremlins 1 and 2 on DVD, and I watched it with him as a kid, him and my mom, and I was hooked on it. I found Gremlins to be very funny. You know, it's classified as a horror / black comedy film, and I loved them as a kid. I thought they were funny and very freaky looking creatures. But I was hooked on them. I was hooked on the first one and the second one. The second one, I just loved it. I liked all the different types of gremlins, you know. But we're going to get into that. You know, of course, we see the title card. I'm just going to go over some of my favorite scenes from the movie. The title card, Gremlins 2, The New Batch, as you can see, is taking place in New York City. We're introduced to our characters, Billy and Kate, from the first one. Now they're a married couple living in New York City working at Clamp Tower, which is an allusion to Trump Tower. You know, their boss, Daniel Clamp, his character was based off of Donald Trump and Ted Turner. Here we see Gizmo in a cage in a laboratory. You know, the Asian man who took Gizmo back at the end of the first one, you know, he was shown at the beginning of the film, but he passed away. No representative of Mr. Clamp tried to buy a shop. No sale. And of course, he passed away, and they took ownership of the shop. Gizmo escaped, but one of the scientists from Clamp Tower found him in the alleyway and kidnapped him. Here they're playing some music, getting Gizmo to dance, and Gizmo tries to escape, but they catch him and put him back in the cage. Later, Billy finds out that Gizmo's in the building. He decides to go get Gizmo back, and they're reunited once again. You take Gizmo up to his desk and put Gizmo in his desk drawer. And a janitor passes by and begins working on a water fountain, and the water from the water fountain sprays all the way to a picture that Gizmo was working on, and the water leak goes from the picture and falls on Gizmo's head, and we all know what happens. Gremlins spawn off of Gizmo's back. You see they are here, or Mogwai, I should say, spawn off Gizmo's back, and they all gang up and attack Gizmo, open a vent, and trap Gizmo in the vent, and go on and wreak havoc. You know, Billy orders his wife Kate to go get Gizmo, and of course she ends up grabbing this crazy eye orange one. You know, I don't know. I still don't know how the hell Kate grabbed the wrong gremlin. I mean, I get it. It's been 6 years. You know, the first one came out in '84. This one came out in '90. So I guess it's been a while since she's seen Gizmo, but still, that's something you can't forget. Like, come on, Gizmo was the one good one. You know, he's the one who didn't turn to a slimy, grotesque creature trying to wreak havoc. You know, so I don't know how the hell she got him mixed up, but hey, it is what it is. She takes this crazy odd one home and tries to feed him. Of course, he's throwing all the food back at her and causing a mess, and Billy returns home, and like, this is not Gizmo, okay? You grabbed the wrong one. And they return to Clamp Tower to go try to look for Gizmo. And see the other gremlins, other Mogwai are in the cafeteria eating food, and we all know what happens when they eat after midnight. They go into cocoons and metamorphosize. Later on, one of them, while Billy's trying to warn everybody about them, one of them jumps out and bites his guy in the neck, and let the hell begin. The other three, they bring him to a studio while a cooking show is filming. He pops out of a pot and sprays the old lady whose name was Marge. The character's name was Marge. He sprays her. And the other three, of course, they're making a mess, terrorizing everybody. And the smoke detectors go off and sprays the water. And again, gets all of them wet, and more gremlins spawn off their back. One of them attacks Mr. Clamp, and Mr. Clamp grabs him and obviously puts him in the shredder right here. And he's killed, and all this green blood gets everywhere. You see Mr. Clamp with Billy and his right-hand man, Mr. Forrester. Right later on in the elevator, Kate becomes terrified because the lights go out, and she hears the gremlin's voice no terrorizing her. They they cut holes into the wall of the elevator. They grab her by her leg. They grab her by her arm. She fights them off, but she falls on her back. And one of them grabs her by the hair and pulls her up against the wall. She's been screaming. Later, we see the crazy eye one. He's out there messing with the elevator, making it fall down fast, precipitously, and to the point where Kate's up in the air, and the other gremlins are crushed to death. You see Kate laying on her back in a pool of their blood. And there are others in the science lab. You know, this is one of my favorite parts of the film. All of them just drinking all these weird, fucked up science stuff, science chemicals, and they're getting all these weird powers. You see this one here. His intelligence is increasing. He's my favorite gremlin of the whole franchise, the Brain Gremlin. That's literally what his name is, the Brain Gremlin. He speaks the King's English. And he basically becomes the unofficial leader of them all, in this movie at least. The first one we all know was Stripe. There's other gremlin right here. He gets bat powers, and the Brain Gremlin injects with this sunblock to help him survive the sunlight. So we all know what happens when the gremlins are exposed to sunlight. He begins flying out and goes terrorizing New York City. And when he leaves, you see the Batman logo. This movie, of course, was made by Warner Brothers. Now, this is a year after the successful Batman movie was released, starring Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. And, of course, 2 years before the release of Batman Returns. We see one gremlin. He's covered. Seems to be had peppers and lettuce growing out of his skin. He's in the cafeteria. And a whole bunch more pop out and begin terrorizing all the people. He's terrorizing Kate. She's traumatized, don't know what to do. And then this one gremlin flashes her wearing the sunglasses, smoking a cigarette. And Kate just had enough of their bullshit, and she kicks him across the room. Meanwhile, the Bat Gremlin is terrorizing Murray and his wife. You know, Murray, his wife from the first movie. And Murray throws him into the cement and covers him in cement. But he flies away, but he gets on top of a tower and becomes like a little gargoyle, a little statue. Meanwhile, you see the other gremlins still continue to harass and terrorize Gizmo. This evil one right here. We'll get to him later. And another scene, probably one of the greatest fourth wall breaks I've ever seen in a movie or TV show. The gremlins interrupt the movie, and you see them in the projecting room, making shadow puppets, talking to the audience. One woman comes out to complain to the usher, and the other guy, he gets away free, talking about, these things, they just overpowered me, and they're terrorizing me. The usher, he goes get Hulk Hogan, brother, and he cuts a promo on the gremlins like, listen up, guys. People paid good money to see this movie. So they pay for soda and popcorn. Now I suggest you rather run the rest of Gremlins 2, or the Hulkster is going to come in there and run Hulkamania wild on your brother. And he breaks the fourth wall and tells the audience, sorry, folks, enjoy the movie. Back when Hulk Hogan was still a beloved figure. This gremlin right here drinks the science chemicals, and he gets electric powers. And we even have the first girl gremlin, transgender gremlin, technically. And she, quote-unquote, Greta Gremlin, takes a liking to Mr. Forrester. And starts harassing him. Why can't you commit, you hunk? And then the evil gremlin who was terrorizing Gizmo earlier, he drinks this, and he becomes a spider. He's probably my second favorite one in the movie after the Brain Gremlin. So the Brain Gremlin, the Spider one, and then the Bat Gremlin. Anyway, Billy's telling his boss, Mr. Clam, a plan to kill all the gremlins, trick them into thinking it's midnight, so they'll gather in the lobby to go outside, and then they'll expose them to sunlight. You see here they put this giant fake night sky up, so they all think it's nighttime, and they fast forward the clocks and think the gremlins think it's nighttime. Later on, Billy got knocked out and is kidnapped and is tied up into this dentist chair where the goofy gremlin comes out and is trying to put the drill into his mouth, but he's saved by Murray. Murray uses the bright light to scare off the gremlin. Kate's in the hallway and she comes across this lady. I forget her name. I think her name was Marla, if I remember correctly. Marla, for all you don't know, Marla was flirting with Billy and taking a liking to him. And, of course, Kate obviously was very upset by that because that's her husband. She taunts her and wonders, but she still saves her anyway. Then the Spider Gremlin comes out ready to attack until Gizmo pops out. Gizmo's gone full Rambo. He lights the pencil on fire, and he fires it at the spider gremlin, setting him on fire and burning him alive. You see all the gremlins gathered in the lobby, and the brain gremlin puts on his best Frank Sinatra impression and starts singing New York, New York. They're partying in the lobby, ready to celebrate. They think the city is theirs. You see, Greta Gremlin here. This gremlin got acid thrown in his face and he became Phantom of the Opera. And they're informed that it's raining outside and the clouds blocking the sun, so now they have to come up with a new plan. So Murray gets the fire hose and sprays all the gremlins, getting them wet. And Billy unleashes the electric gremlin and he zaps all of them to death. Mr. Clan comes in, ready to attack, but he slips and falls on their blood. And the gun goes off. This just made me laugh. He came in red, like, yeah, ready to fight. He slips and falls. When the gun goes off, he's lucky it didn't hit nobody. But anyway, Billy and Kate go home, but it's not over yet. Mr. Forrester's in the bathroom. You see with lipstick all over his face, and Greta Gremlin comes out, wanting to marry him, and Mr. Forrester has a look on his face like, what the hell? He just accepts it, and the movie ends. Like I said, Gremlins 2 was one of my favorite movies as a kid. I loved it. You know, I still love it to this day. Like I said, to me, it's one of those sequels that surpasses the first one. You know, kind of like Child's Play 2. That's rare. That's rare, particularly in horror films. Well, quote unquote horror. Gremlins is more black comedy, you know, dark comedy than a horror film. But you know, it's rare that a sequel surpasses the first one. But to me, Gremlins 2 did, and Child's Play 2 as well. And then in other genres, like I said, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, some people, that's better than the first one. The Empire Strikes Back to some people is better than New Hope. Dark Knight is better than Batman Begins to some people. And probably other examples. You know, Lethal Weapon 2 better than Lethal Weapon 1. My pops thinks that. But guys, in the comments, tell me down below, do you like Gremlins 2 more than the first one? Do you like, you know, quote-unquote black comedy films? When I say black comedy, I'm talking about Eddie Murphy films or Kevin Hart films. I'm talking about, you know, dark kind of horror comedies, if you will. Do you like Gremlins 2, or do you think the first one's better? If so, make your case in the comment section down below. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. How Young Brother Grow on YouTube. I'm going to see you all.